Hello, and welcome to Buddha Light Podcast. A friend once came to me with a question that was heavy on his heart. He asked, if a person is dying, should they spend all their money on medical treatment, or should they use it to enjoy their last days? At first glance, it may seem like a practical question about money, but if we pause for a moment, we realize it is much more than that. It is not only about medical bills or lifestyle choices. It is really about how we face the end of life itself. It is about meaning. It is about dignity. And perhaps most importantly, it is about freedom. For many of us, this question feels almost too painful to confront directly. We avoid thinking about it until circumstances force us to. Yet whether we are ready or not, each of us will one day encounter this reality, for ourselves or for someone we dearly love. Imagine for a moment, you are sitting in a hospital room. The doctor has just spoken with you or your family. The words are clear. There is no cure. No treatment will bring recovery. In that silence, what arises? Fear? Sadness? Or perhaps confusion. What should I do now? Should I keep fighting, or should I let go? This is not a question only for the sick. Even those of us who are healthy can sense the weight of it. Because in that moment, life itself becomes a mirror. It reflects back all of our attachments, our fears, and our hopes. Let's look deeper. When a person asks whether to spend everything on treatment or to live fully in their remaining days, what they are really asking is, what is the value of life when time is short? Is life measured by how many days we extend it, or by how deeply we live those days? What does it mean to die with dignity and to live with peace, even at the very end? These are not questions with simple yes or no answers. They are invitations. Invitations to reflect on our relationship with suffering, with attachment, and with letting go. From a Buddhist perspective, this is where the teachings on impermanence become so real, so immediate. We often hear that life is impermanent, but when illness brings us face to face with death, those words are no longer abstract. They are no longer a teaching to be memorized. They are the reality of our body and mind. Impermanence does not mean life is meaningless. In fact, it is the opposite, because life is fragile. Every moment becomes precious. Because time is limited, each breath becomes an opportunity to live with awareness, to live with kindness, and to live with courage. I sometimes use this simple image. Think of a candle burning in the night. The flame may be small, and we know it will eventually burn out. But while it is burning, it gives light, it gives warmth, it brings comfort to others in the darkness. The candle does not despair because it cannot burn forever. Instead, its meaning is found in the light it gives while it lasts. In the same way, our life, even when it is short, can shine with clarity and dignity. The real question is not how long the flame will burn, but how brightly, how meaningfully it can shine in the time that remains. So, when my friend asked me this difficult question, I realized that he was not only asking about medical treatment or money. He was really asking about awakening. He was asking, how should we live and how should we die? With peace and wisdom. This is a question we all fear to ask, but perhaps it is also the question that can open the deepest reflection in our heart. Facing the unavoidable, illness, death, and suffering. The Buddha taught the first noble truth, that life contains suffering. This teaching is not meant to frighten us, but to remind us of something we already know deep in our hearts. From the moment we are born, we carry with us the reality of change. Our bodies grow, they age, they fall ill, and one day they will stop. This is not a punishment, nor is it a failure. It is the natural rhythm of being human. Think of a flower. When we see it bloom, we delight in its color and fragrance. But even as we enjoy its beauty, we know it will not last forever. The same is true for our own lives. Our bodies, like flowers, blossom in youth, open fully in strength, and eventually wither with time. To expect otherwise is to fight against nature itself. Sickness, aging, and death are not strangers who suddenly arrive at our door. They are companions who walk with us quietly, often unnoticed, until they make themselves known. A body that once felt strong and reliable may suddenly feel fragile. A step that once was light may now feel heavy. The hospital bed, which we hoped would be a place of healing, may instead feel like a place of confinement. And yet, these experiences are part of the very fabric of life. Acknowledging this truth is not pessimism. It is honesty. And honesty opens the door to wisdom. When we see life as it truly is, without denial, we can live more fully. Instead of clinging desperately to what must eventually change, we learn to appreciate what is here now. The breath that still moves through us, the friends who still sit beside us, the moments of peace that can still be touched even in times of difficulty. The Buddha used the word dukkha to describe this suffering. It does not only mean pain or sorrow. It also points to the sense of unease we feel when life does not match our expectations. When health declines, we long for the body we once had. When loved ones age, we wish they could stay young forever. When death comes close, we resist it, hoping to push it further away. This gap between our wishes and reality is the heart of dukkha. But there is a gentle wisdom in simply naming what is true. Imagine carrying a heavy bag on your shoulders without realizing it. You struggle, you tire, but you don't know why. The moment you recognize, I am carrying this weight, something shifts. The burden may not vanish, but awareness itself brings relief. In the same way, when we recognize that sickness, aging, and death are natural parts of life, we stop fighting them as enemies. Instead, we begin to meet them as teachers. Sickness teaches us the value of health. Aging teaches us the beauty of patience. Death teaches us the preciousness of each moment we are alive. So, facing the unavoidable is not about despair. It is about clarity. It is about living with open eyes so that we can meet life and even suffering with compassion and understanding. And in that clarity, something surprising happens. We discover peace.
The trap of clinging when hope becomes pain. Hope is a natural part of being human. When illness comes, when the body weakens, it is only human to hope for recovery, to wish for more time. We want to see another sunrise, to hear the voices of those we love, to have one more chance to live fully. But sometimes, hope quietly transforms into something heavier. It hardens into clinging. And when that happens, the very thing that once gave us comfort begins to create suffering. We may hear the inner voice insisting, I must recover. I cannot die yet. I cannot let go. At first, such determination feels like strength. But when it becomes an absolute demand, it turns into chains that bind the heart. The Buddha often described clinging as the root of suffering. Imagine holding onto a rope that is already on fire. Out of fear, we squeeze it tighter, believing that by gripping harder, we can keep ourselves safe. Yet the tighter we grip, the more our hands burn, the deeper the wounds go. In the same way, when we cling desperately to life in a way that denies reality, our suffering intensifies. Treatments may continue endlessly. Injections, surgeries, medicines. Each one feels like a small thread of hope. But if they no longer bring healing, they may only prolong pain, both for ourselves and for those who sit by our side, helpless and exhausted. Think of a flower in a vase. With fresh water, it blooms beautifully for a time. But no matter how much water we add, eventually the petals will fall. To keep pouring water into the vase forever will not stop nature's cycle. In the same way, sometimes continuing to fight against the inevitable does not extend true life. It only extends struggle. When we cling too tightly, our loved ones may also feel trapped. They may fear making decisions, afraid of letting us down. They may pour their savings, their strength, and their emotions into keeping us alive at all costs, even as they watch us suffer. The weight of clinging does not fall on us alone. It ripples out to everyone who cares for us. To loosen this clinging does not mean to give up on life. It means to embrace life as it truly is, fragile, temporary, and precious. It means to continue with treatment when it brings real comfort, but also to have the courage to pause when it only deepens pain. In Buddhism, we sometimes speak of acceptance as the greatest act of courage. Acceptance does not mean despair. It is not resignation. It is the gentle opening of the heart that says, I have lived. I have loved. Now I can walk peacefully with whatever comes. This shift from clinging to acceptance is like releasing that burning rope. The fire may still be there, but the hands are free. There is pain, yes, but no longer the added suffering of struggle. In this way, hope can return to its pure form, not the desperate hope of denying death, but the peaceful hope of living each moment with clarity and dignity, whether that moment is long or short. Letting go, the wisdom of freedom. When we hear the words letting go, it may sound like weakness or even surrender. In our everyday lives, we are taught to fight, to hold on, to never give up. And in many situations, perseverance is indeed a strength. But in Buddhism, letting go has a deeper meaning. It does not mean giving up on life, nor does it mean turning away from responsibility. Instead, it means choosing not to be enslaved by pain, fear, and false expectations. Imagine carrying a heavy stone in your hand. At first, perhaps it does not feel like much, but as the hours pass, your arm begins to ache, your body grows weary, and your spirit becomes burdened. The stone itself has not grown heavier. It is your clinging to it that creates the suffering. To let go is simply to place the stone down, not in defeat, but in wisdom. In the same way, many people at the end of life struggle with a difficult choice. Should they continue treatments that bring little relief, or should they release themselves from this endless cycle of fear and discomfort? Buddhism teaches us that stopping futile treatment is not abandonment. It is not a failure of courage. On the contrary, it could be an act of profound clarity and compassion. Think of a traveler who has been walking a long road, carrying a backpack filled with unnecessary weight. The farther they go, the more exhausted they become. Eventually, they realize the journey ahead cannot be walked with peace unless they put down what no longer serves them. When they finally unburden themselves, they find their steps become lighter, their breath steadier, and their heart freer. This is the wisdom of letting go. Letting go also brings peace to those around us. Families often suffer when they see their loved ones in constant struggle. They wish to help, but sometimes their hope turns into pressure, urging more treatments, more medicine, more desperate attempts. This comes from love, but also from fear. When the one who is ill gently chooses to let go, it can guide the family, too, toward acceptance and peace. This wisdom of freedom is not about passively waiting for death. It is about choosing to live the present moment with dignity, calmness, and clarity. It is about recognizing that life's value does not only lie in its length, but in its quality, in the presence of peace, love, and awareness. Letting go does not mean turning away from life. It means embracing life as it truly is, impermanent, fragile, and precious. When we no longer resist the natural flow, we discover a new kind of freedom. It is like a bird released from its cage, or a river flowing without obstruction. The energy that was once bound up in fear and resistance becomes available for peace, gratitude, and gentle connection with those around us. This is the heart of Buddhist wisdom. Freedom is not found in control, but in release. And release is not abandonment. It is compassion, both for ourselves and for those who love us. So when we hear the words, letting go, let us remember, it is not a loss, but a gift. It is the gift of freedom, the gift of peace, the gift of walking the final steps of life's journey without unnecessary burden.
The question of resources, money, dignity, and choice. When illness arises, it is not only the body that suffers. There is also the burden of resources, of money, and of choices. Many families struggle with this silent question. Should we spend everything we have on treatments that may prolong life, yet bring little comfort? Or should those savings be used to ensure dignity, presence, and meaning in one's final days? This is not a simple question. It carries the weight of love, responsibility, and fear. When we love someone deeply, our instinct is often to do everything possible, to fight, to buy more time, to leave no stone unturned. But sometimes in this desperate effort, we forget to ask, what kind of time are we buying? Imagine two paths. One path offers more days, but those days are filled with needles, machines, and side effects that bring exhaustion. The other path may be shorter, but it allows moments of quiet joy, warm meals with family, laughter with grandchildren, or simply resting without struggle. Which path truly honors life? Is it measured only in length, in the number of days, or in the quality of those days? The Buddhist view gently reminds us that life is not only about duration. It is also about intention, awareness, and presence. Think of a candle. Some candles burn long but dim, struggling against the wind. Others burn brightly, even if only for a shorter time, bringing warmth and light to those around them. What matters is not how many hours the flame lasts, but the clarity and brightness it offers while it burns. To choose wisely, we must see beyond fear. We must ask, does clinging to one more treatment truly serve the person we love? Or does it only deepen suffering for both the patient and the family? Using resources for dignity, for a peaceful home environment, for good care, for moments of love and connection, can sometimes be the greater act of compassion. It is not giving up. It is choosing to honor life in a different way. It is saying, may the last chapter be written with grace, not with endless struggle. The Buddha taught us the importance of right view, seeing clearly beyond illusion. When we look at life only through the lens of fear of death, we may spend everything chasing a few more breaths. But when we see life through the lens of wisdom, we realize that peace, dignity, and compassion can be the greatest gifts, even greater than time itself. So when we face the question of resources, let us pause. Let us breathe. Let us ask with honesty and love, what choice allows my loved one or myself to live and to leave with peace? Because in the end, it is not only about the days we have, but about the freedom, love, and awareness we carry within those days. Living the final chapter, conscious joy and farewell. When medical treatment no longer brings real benefit, it does not mean that life has lost its value. It simply means the way we choose to live must shift from prolonging time to deepening meaning. Imagine accande. Its flame may grow smaller, but in its final moments, it can still shine brightly, offering warmth and light. In the same way, our final chapter can be lived consciously with presence, gratitude, and love. Instead of spending resources on painful treatments that bring little relief, we can choose to use them in ways that nourish the heart. Perhaps it means sharing simple meals with loved ones, not extravagant feasts, but warm bowls of rice, laughter around the table, the comfort of being together. These moments, though ordinary, often become the most precious. For some, it might mean traveling, not to tick off a long bucket list, but to return to a place that holds deep meaning. Maybe the village of one's childhood, the sea where one felt most at peace, or the mountains that always seemed to whisper silence to the soul. Such journeys are less about the distance traveled and more about the reconnection with what truly matters. Living the final chapter can also mean turning inward, seeking reconciliation, healing old wounds, and softening the walls that may have stood between us and others. Sometimes it is about forgiving. Sometimes it is about asking for forgiveness. These small acts release burdens that have been carried for years, allowing the heart to rest lighter. It can also be the time to express gratitude, to say thank you to parents, to friends, to teachers, to children, to anyone who has shaped our journey. Words that we often delay, thinking there will be another chance, become priceless in the awareness that time is limited. And sometimes it is about speaking what was left unsaid. I love you. I am proud of you. Please take care of yourself. These simple phrases, spoken from the depth of the heart, carry far more healing than any medicine. Let us be clear. This is not about reckless indulgence or clinging to pleasure. It is about living consciously. Even in the final chapter, we can choose clarity over confusion, presence over distraction, joy over regret. The Buddha's teaching reminds us that impermanence is not a curse, but a gentle truth. When we embrace it, every moment becomes more vivid, more alive. The last chapter of life is not the end of meaning. It is a chance to let our life story close with peace, dignity, and love. And perhaps when that moment of farewell finally comes, it will not feel like a loss, but like a gentle bow, a conscious closing of the book, leaving behind a fragrance of kindness, compassion, and wisdom. Preparing for a peaceful death, a Buddhist view. In the Buddhist understanding, the way we approach death is just as important as the way we have lived our life. It is not something to be feared or avoided in thought, but something to be prepared for gently, wisely, and with compassion for ourselves and others. To prepare the mind for death means, first, to practice letting go. Throughout life, we hold tightly to many things: possessions, roles, relationships, even our own self-image. But when the time of departure arrives, none of these can be carried with us. Just as a traveler leaves behind heavy luggage before boarding a small boat, we too must set down our attachments if we wish for a smooth crossing. Letting go does not mean we stop loving or caring. It means we release the grip of clinging. We allow people and things to be as they are, without trying to own or control them. This release brings great lightness to the heart. Imagine a bird finally freed from its cage. It does not stop existing. It simply flies in a wider sky. The second aspect is to avoid creating new resentments or harmful karma. In Buddhist teachings, karma simply refers to the effects of our actions. Every word spoken, every deed done, plants a seed that ripens in time. As we near the end of life, it is wise to avoid planting seeds of anger, bitterness, or cruelty. Why carry that weight into the final chapter? Instead, we can choose to plant seeds of reconciliation, of forgiveness, of gratitude. Even a single kind word spoken before parting can bring peace that echoes far beyond this life. The third aspect is to maintain clarity and kindness until the last breath. The mind at the moment of death has a great influence on the journey that follows. A mind clouded with fear, resentment, or confusion may struggle. But a mind that is calm, clear, and compassionate rests as naturally as a candle flame going out when the wind grows still. This is why Buddhist practice often emphasizes mindfulness, training ourselves to return again and again to awareness of the present moment, to kindness, to acceptance. From this perspective, death is not a defeat. It is not the enemy of life. It is a natural completion of a journey, like the closing of a book after a story has been told. The value of a story does not depend on how long the book is, but on the wisdom, love, and meaning carried in its pages. And so, when that time comes for each of us, and it will as surely as the setting sun, may we have the courage to live wisely until the very end. May we love deeply without reservation, and may we let go gently without fear. This is the heart of preparing for a peaceful death, not clinging, not regretting, but resting in compassion and clarity. To leave this world as lightly as a leaf carried by the autumn wind. Thank you for joining today's reflection. May these words bring you comfort and clarity. Please look forward to our next episode of the Buddha Light Podcast.